Live. Cue the music.
Cue the dancing bears.
Here's the dancing bears. The jugglers. Hello everyone, I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with my once-a-week co-host, Tank.
Oh. Hey everybody.
How's it going? We're here on the front lines in the battle against the Deep State, the Cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. How is it going, Tank? Do you miss me yet?
Dan, I do miss you. It's funny. I've lost all track of time. I have definitely never worked so much on so many things with so much excitement and so much energy behind it ever in my life. And that's saying a lot if you've been following us, because we do a lot of really good things, right? Together. So it's been nonstop, 24/7, and very, very exciting stuff. So not sure exactly where to start. You want me to, give a brief update report?
That's probably a good idea. We just go for the report, and we'll catch up on and jump in, because there's been so much going on. This this whole last week is crazy week. So
crazy week. Okay, so first things first. The United News Channel, the network, will launch officially on Thursday. So keep an eye out. We will be putting out a trailer and a start time, and you will see the official first show for the United News Channel, along with very, very amazing content, well-written articles, very well-sourced articles, and it will be an absolutely mainstream outlet. I believe, I'm not sure if the TV platform part of it is launching Thursday or not, but if it's not Thursday, it'll launch very, very soon after that. And we will actually be broadcasting on television. So it's a very serious mainstream outlet. We have support, and we'll have insiders. So from now to the election, we will be giving an insider report directly from the White House. So that will be information that you will not be able to get anywhere else. And I'm sure that we'll have a direct feed, like the RSS feed, things like that, directly from a couple other sources as well.
So this
in the government.
Will this does this mean that will have a reporter in the press room when McElhaney is there, giving her press briefings?
We can. We will have our own press passes. We'll have our own press passes so that we can go to that whenever we want. And
excellent.
I would say that in all probability, in a very short period of time, that we will end up being the primary news source. My speculation anyways, which is based on a lot of really good facts, that we will end up being the the only real news, right?
Right.
So we're going to be exposing the whole story. So the way to get there is that that will be coming out through UNC Network.
Wow.
So
that is amazing.
Now there's something else too coming up. So if I was everybody out there, I'd pay attention. Right after you see this go up, I would pay attention to the Q drops to see if something special they might be mentioning the UNC network as well. Yeah.
Oh, amazing! Amazing!
Oh, it's gonna be amazing too. It's gonna be everything every Q follower ever dreamt was possible. So
well, that's
I'm
definitely,
telling you, it is.
well, that's a game changer. Definitely a game changer because I only number that I heard about Q on the number of people is when they were first being attacked, way back when they were their denial of service attacks on the website. It was 30 million viewers a day. 30 million unique impressions a day. Back then, that's, I don't know, 2 years ago. So
Now, imagine they've grown to 30 million viewers a day. They don't have a mainstream outlet. They have a side group of this really kind of a rough platform. It's not really user friendly, right? Like it was 8chan, I was 4chan, then 8chan, and now it's 8kun or something, right?
Yeah, 8kun, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, for the most part, that's not like your everyday kind of site that people would go to.
Oh, it's complicated. It's not friendly.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's not attractive, really. So that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Right?
It's darn right ugly.
So imagine that same level of information coming out in the mainstream and being openly discussed, and all the things that they bury being completely isolated and protected with the power and technology of the quantum system and broadcasting everywhere to a point where no matter what they do, they cannot stop it. That's what is happening right now.
Yep. That's totally amazing. This is such amount of energy coming out of this movement to come up and get to the point where the whole Q movement will now be focused on one platform. I mean that's a little bit hard, not exactly that way, but that there'll be a platform coming out that is really dedicated to bringing out this information. That Q's been putting out there in a way that's I don't want to say mainstream, but Main Street. To the people.
Well, so it is going to be a mainstream level platform,
right?
But to be honest, it's going to be far beyond that, because it's going to be we're actually going to launch a platform that has more bandwidth than YouTube, so it'll have the same function as YouTube, and the only rules will be the same rules that you would expect, right? Unlike YouTube, we will not be promoting, we will not allow pedophiles to broadcast there. We won't have things that are, if they're saying that are violent nature, it'll have to be a warning. But otherwise, it'll be an uncensored platform, and people will be we'll actually pay people that provide original content, right? So, Kim, now I'm not sure exactly how this structure will work yet, but it'll be somewhere in the range of like $50 to $100 that, when people they get original footage, right? That they can post it on there, and we'll actually pay them, but there'll also be a donate button. So instead of donating through some other way, the money will go directly to that person's account. And what will happen eventually is we will have our wallet system connected there, and it'll go directly into their wallet. So we won't even take a dime of it. It'll go directly into their account. They'll be able to have their own channels, and people can donate right there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and actually, what Kim was calling it is like a tip. Like, oh, that was good information. You get a tip. Because that happens, right? And people will have a wallet within the same system. It'll be completely protected, and it will be real money.
So the tip system was the old way of doing it. Now it's like buy me a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Right, but yeah, I get what you're saying. But is that this is a way to get the people paid for participation, which is fantastic. I'm all about creating systems that encourage participation and reward. So
and now, and I want to say this, and I apologize for not starting with this. I want to thank everybody who stepped up to donate, big and small. Every dime that people sent to us was put to use almost instantaneously. And it was amazing. The timing was so good that as donations came in, right, and I would get it to Kim, Kim was able to move, because Kim works a lot like I do, right? Like, okay, we're going, we're doing this, we're doing that, right? So together we're moving so many different things, right? Plus all the other people, like our whole team and you guys and you know, everybody, like there's a whole group of like, you know, higher level intel group that I'm working with Kim that's providing so much information and doing things in real time. And because of people's donation, that's why we're able to launch Thursday. And I mean, we're still, you know, we still definitely need support with that. And like I said, you know, the gloves are off. Money needs to come. Like we need money to get this done. And there's things that come up that we know we absolutely need money for. So, you know, please, if you know anybody that wants to contribute to change the world, this is the way. We are the platform to change the world. We are bringing out the truth everywhere. So, Dan, you can actually post that for me, right?
Sure.
The link. So, yeah. And because, guys, you wouldn't believe how quickly, you know, we were able to get our own, our own server, and like to make sure that we had the right tech, because we are trying to bring out a product. Now, a lot of what we're doing is bringing out the product. Now, the Speed Project has had the writing for a long time. Like Lane Keller is a, bar none, second to no one as far as editor-in-chief, right? And Sidori, the same as far as, actually presenting a brand. She's been amazing. And my whole team, right? And Lisa's putting out, she's putting out some great articles about health and wellness. And we've had access to this incredible network to all these incredible, amazing people with all these health tips, right? Not to mention Ava. I mean, Ava's an international phenom, right? Like she's on covers of magazines everywhere. She's so knowledgeable about this stuff, right? And she's been in hiding for 5 years. So it's like this rebirth of Ava coming out, and she's just on top of being beautiful, and she's also incredibly kind and intelligent. So it's very exciting. It's an exciting team to work with. Not to mention Kim is just having a ball. She's having fun, and she's she's making jokes, and she's got all types of ideas, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. I mean, this is gonna be real news, but we also recognize that there's some hard things that come along with this. So, we're kind of embrace the attitude like life is fun. Let's make life fun again, and let's really give people ways to change things. So this is the People's Network. So everybody around the world who might be listening to us now or in the future, we need contributors, but we don't need contributors who are going to say, "Oh, I could do this," and do nothing. If you're a contributor, if you're somebody who has something to offer, write an article, and you know what? Get it to me. We'll credit you. We'll put it. We'll help you get it out there. Make a video. Make a difference on whatever level. Now, Dan and I have been talking about this for over a year. What I'm telling you now is I'm giving you a platform to do this, right? Because of Kim and this whole team extends beyond us, right? That everybody's a part of it. Everybody's a part of it. That's Kim's vision. Kim is right now in complete share mode. We're about to bring out. Listen, Thursday, you watch that report. You wait until you see some of the things we're going to bring out. We're going to bring out things that are going to completely expose all types of things that the mainstream is talking about or they're talking around, right? They got you distracted with something. We're going to give you all types of, imagine seeing this on a mainstream platform. We're going to talk about how all of a sudden, all over the U.S., right is this this crisis actor who claims to be a cop, right? But he was actually in a show called Cab, I believe it's called, right? Or Cabby or something like that. And they've shown it. They've shown it clearly. It's the same guy, right? Imagine the mainstream actually talking about that. And then the guy that was allegedly killed, he and that guy, they worked together for a whole year as bouncers at a club. You with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hearing you. I'm listening.
Okay. No, I'm sorry. I just had to make sure I didn't lose you. Okay. So not only that, but conveniently, all across the nation, pallets of bricks were dropped anonymously in just the right places, right? where all of a sudden you had this group. Now we actually have some of the companies that George Soros did use, right? I mean, Antifa admitting that, that it was George Soros is paying them to do this, right? And we have phone numbers that George Soros's, crazy, insane group provided so that they could get immunity and get out of jail for free, get their bail paid for, right? So they would go and start this war, basically, and try to make it a race war, right? To make false threats from Black Lives Matter, saying they were coming in a white suburban neighborhood. I mean, it is going to be such a big exposure. It is going to tell a story that no one has dared tell. We're going to tell it.
Well, yesterday I went over the Antifa manual, the 4 pages of it, and it is a racist document. It says, don't give it to white people, right? And if there are some white people that you can co-opt and bring to your side, use white guilt, things like that. And it was such a wake-up call for anyone that doesn't really know what Antifa is all about. And they talked about that they're going to bring in the new world order. I mean, that's their goal.
Wow.
A one world government. So that's international. It's an international organization. It's not domestic terrorism. It's an international insurrection that they're bringing forth. So this is the becoming into the consciousness of people now at this time. I also got a funding documents that I was going to go over as well at some point. Talks about how they have their protected coordinators. And I think the way I read it, it sounds like it's politically protected, right? So, and these are the ones that will be dispersing the money. So, it is amazing. So, I think that this is the perfect time to launch a network that is really going to be focused on bringing this information out. We've had 1 year to gear up. Well, a little more of that. We're at 452 episodes of this, so we have a lot of practice on how to bring out this information. And we've got to expand what we're doing. So we need contributors, we need people that are going to be doing things, and you're going to get paid to do it. Amazing. We'll get a lot of people coming into this. I also covered just a little side note. I also covered all of these protesters. I said they were paid protesters, and then I started doing a commercial for the paid protesting company, right? And these people are claiming they're making $9,000, $7,000 in a month or a week doing paid protests. They're organizing and they bring more people in, they can make a lot of money. So I even one guy that was interviewed, on TV, right? And he first didn't want to answer the question, got the reporter, good thing for the reporter, he kind of kept pushing at him, right? And so, well, how do I do it? As soon as he told him that, he kicked into gear and to sell him on how to get in, right? And he said, and George Soros, it's a check coming from George Soros. His name's on the check.
Yep. Well, they were chanting somewhere about the Soros passed down. Yeah. And I think a really great point that was made is you want to talk about what they're trying to do. This summarizes it, right? You've got looters that somebody's there filming the looters, right, doing all this stuff, right? All this, violent acts, all types of things. And you find out, well, you won't get arrested for looting, but if you're a business owner and you open a business, you'll get arrested. We have a woman here in New York, and this is firsthand testimony. She was selling, now she owns a salon, she was selling hair products, right? She didn't even let people come into the door, just selling the color for the hair, right? Mm-hmm. And they never even came in, and they would pull up, she would take it out to their car, and they would drive away. And she was shut down and arrested. Now, they took the time to arrest this woman, and yet there's people that were looting, protesting, nobody got arrested. What happened? What's taking place here? Now, not only that, but we have actual footage of police loading up pallets of bricks. Now, what are the police doing?
Right.
Now this speaks to exactly what we've been saying all along.
Well, here's
Now,
the other thing. Other than the pallets of bricks, it's also water bottles filled with gasoline. Those are also being stationed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So same concept. They're ramping it up because people are not picking up on the bricks, right? And there's this one wonderful young guy, right, where a black guy wearing a black mask. He came out and he was saying these weren't here a month ago. There's no construction going on, and then he was saying Soros, you got to do better. We got your number, right?
Do better. Yeah. I saw him, man. He was great. I love that.
He was great. Yeah. So
yeah. So now I have one other really big piece of news, and this is what I'm actually most excited about. For anybody out there who's been paying attention, I've been trying my best. And kind of what I would, consider it felt, like I just wasn't getting where we need to be with the various patriot groups and, for lack of a better term, we'll call them militias, right? But these different groups, right, which is really, we don't want to use the word militia. However, then Kim got a little nudge, right? We're getting instructions now from very high sources, right? And to organize the civilian, militia in a positive way. So Kim, had this. She mentioned it to me about, actually organizing the task force, right? And organize a task force of these veterans and such, and other civilians, right, that have been training, and to organize them in such a way that they actually help support and uphold the executive orders, the presidential executive orders. Now, because we're in a state of emergency, the presidential executive orders are law, right?
Right.
Now, because of that, the governors don't have the right to actually usurp that authority, right? But they are. So the governors have band together, right? They have the governor's council, right? And they're basically using that to override and do whatever they want. And in the process, they're removing our fundamental rights. And they keep introducing this curfew that's shorter and shorter. That's now the curfew, I think, in California is 6 o'clock. I think it's something like that here, too, in New York, right? So you have this curfew where people aren't allowed to do things. And because of that, you have, they're basically trying to limit us and force us and aggravate us to violence, right? They want us to get violent. They want to start a war. This is the four horsemen of the apocalypse, plan, right? And they want us to actually, now one of the four horsemen is, I think it's Pale Horse, maybe. Or I'm not sure which one it is, but is war, right? That's what he does. He's here to start a war.
Right.
So they're trying to start a war, and so they try their typical, things they usually do, which is, race, right? So race is an easy way to start a war, right? Religion, whatever else, right? So they make it look like, a white cop, attacks, a helpless black man for something that seems so minor, it was either a bad check or allegedly a counterfeit bill, right? You can never get the whole story, right?
Right.
And then they use this now. So Kim wrote a great article breaking down. This is the program. This is what they do, right? And this is like remember Ferguson, I believe, back in like 2014, the young boy who got killed in an all-white neighborhood. So it's the same thing.
Right, exactly the same.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So that being said, Kim mentioned, bringing together this task force. So I happened to be working that weekend with the militia, right? And with some of the militia here in New York, and I was talking to them. And so we came up with this idea of having, a task force that we call the Life Force. So the Life Force, and actually, let me read this, Dan. I think it's worth repeating. And I didn't read this last week, right? I didn't read this to you guys. About the Life Force, Dan?
No.
Okay. So this letter is what I wrote to activate the militias, right? And to actually let them know that we are bringing everyone together under one banner to so that we can stand together and that we're collectively representing, the executive orders of the president, right? So, just bear with me here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So, basically, I wrote this with that in mind. So here we go. So this is attention to all American patriot groups. This is a call to action. The current State of the Union is strong despite the targeted efforts to usurp the authority of President Trump. However, if we are going to revitalize the American spirit, achieve the American dream, and live free according to the core values and principles from which our country was established, our president needs support from the civilian-trained militia and veterans who return from active duty only to discover that the same forces they left home to fight have sprouted up here. Due to the success of the president returning manufacturing to America, making peace with and making an ally of North Korea, revitalizing our economy, working to finally build a proper wall at the Mexican border, and countless other accomplishments, we recognize that he is truly an advocate acting in the best interest of the people. Now, that being said, we also recognize that the deep state is acting against the president, making the enforcement of his executive orders a very difficult task. Behind the scenes and away from the mainstream, President Trump has quietly and consistently enacted important executive orders that protect the constitutional rights of the American people. Meanwhile, a coalition of state governors has conspired to undermine these orders, enacting false statutes, orders, and regulations that violate not only the executive orders of the president, but the fundamental rights of the people. This goes beyond policy disagreements, and party affiliations. These actions have unlawfully imprisoned half of America in their homes, while crippling small business owners, disrupting a thriving economy, and terrorizing the people with false information misrepresented on the mainstream media. We are calling on the militia and patriot groups to sign the Lightforce Agreements. This agreement is between all those who love freedom, America, and Americans. The Lightforce is the executive order enforcement and human rights task force committed to protecting the living individual's right to be free and independent, as well as vital and safe as Americans according to the law of the land. As a coalition dedicated and knowledgeable of the true spirit of the Constitution, we step forward willing to serve in our own best interest, that of our posterity and that of our fellow Americans. We draw our authority from the powers latent in man, inherent from birth, provided to us by our Creator and confirmed in the founding documents of this great nation. We recognize these rights are also our responsibility. We walk worthy of the highest calling, taking action that is responsible, speaking with respect, purpose, and kindness, protecting those who cannot protect themselves, and standing against tyranny, terrorism, and blatant abuses of power. With this agreement, we pledge to act as one body, trusting that all those who sign will do the same. We embrace our moral obligation as Americans for America. We recognize that each of our established organizations was formed based on the historical integrity of those who came before us, willing to stand and claim their freedom so that we can have ours. We are the people, the guardians of freedom, protectors of history, and builders of the future. We acknowledge and accept our differences as individuals who are allowed to be unique as members of a free nation. We use the immense power of our diversity and our love of our freedom to be ourselves as the binding force that draws us together to stand unified as one body. The Lightforce Agreement is simple and effective. We, as the collective civilian and veteran militia, want to support President Trump and the American people to ensure the fundamental rights described in the Constitution and supported by the executive orders are enforced. As the founders of this organized effort, we have been assured that this signed agreement will be delivered directly to the president and endorsed by him personally. We will also provide inside information to assist and support the need for appropriate action as directed from the White House. We ask that you read the attached document and sign it on behalf of your organization, pledging to uphold, support, and enforce the presidential executive order. By signing the Lightforce Agreement, you will be acknowledged as an official member of the Executive Order Enforcement Task Force, aka the Lightforce.
That is a beautiful document. Where do I sign?
Yes, indeed. Well, here's where you sign. These have been those letters, along with the agreement itself, have been sent out to about 100,000 different members, even more than that actually, but at least 100,000 different militia members. That is currently, working its way around various parts, and we have it set up. And if anybody would like to be involved in that, you can actually reach out to Tank, TANK at republicmilitia.com, and you can let me know that your group would like to be involved. Now, but it goes a step further than that. So I wrote this letter and I shared it with the cabinet, right? There's somebody directly who works with the cabinet, and the president loved it. And so the White House is actually going to endorse it. And so there's actually going to be they let us know that they've approved it, and that there's going to be an official background check done on every single member of the Lightforce. So they will be sending us an information package that we will provide to every single member who wants to be a part of the Lightforce task force. And not only that, so they will go through a criminal background check, just common criminal background check. And then from there, and this is to avoid people sneaking in to try to corrupt things. And then from there, we will actually receive official Lightforce agent badges. So it is essentially establishing a new agency that is to enforce the executive orders of the president and our fundamental rights, really.
Amazing. No, I'm definitely ready to sign. So, and it's a beautiful document, and I want to actually can you send that to me? I want to make sure that I go through it again.
Yep. And so what we'll be doing, now we're doing this in the midst of everything else. So this is while Kim is still doing, probably 6, 7, 8 hours a day of work on the financial system. She's doing another 10 hours of work on launching the network. We've got, probably 30 different people, writing articles, editing, pulling pictures, pulling documents, and all types of things simultaneously. We're launching this because just like we've said all along, Kim says the exact same thing. There are certain things that must be in place, right? So that's why Lawful America continues to successfully set up. They set up the assembly, and they help set up the assembly that is in California, in New York. Obviously, is still operating, as well as a whole bunch of other really incredible documentation that Michelle Walker's put together to really come out and really bring up and support the law, right? So you have this Lightforce, right? Which how appropriate is the name, right? That Lightforce being the essence of source that it's in all of us, right? Of God, the divine, and so everyone who's divinely inspired can really contribute, participate, right? There's all types of positions that are needed as a member, of humanity, right? And that's what the Lightforce is, the essence of the soul and the spirit that we are. So.
Well, it's interesting that it manifests in this form because we are the opposition to the dark force, right? We are basically the light force, right?
Agreed.
We've been in opposition to the dark forces, and the cabal, the Illuminati, deep state. All of this is what we've been striving towards, and it just manifests as okay now. Here's our badge and our light, and we're part of the light force.
Well, depending on who you talk to, there's reference to the war in heaven, right? Now, what's weird is, right, if you listen to people now, you look over in the book of Revelation, which is often viewed as the end of the Bible, and you hear about the woman cloaked in the sun, travailing in birth to bring forth a son, right? So she's cloaked in the sun, and she's got the sun in her. Now, that'd be symbolic of she's within God, and God's within her. Right, and that's what all of us can really talk about, right? And in that this son being born, the dragon was lying in wait to devour the child, right? So that's sometimes viewed as the war in heaven. But then you have in the middle of the Bible, you have Pentecost. Now, Pentecost is the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, where the Holy Spirit was made available in men, right? And men and women, so to speak, right? And so men and women, suddenly, they recognize their divine nature, right? That if you're ever going to find God, you're going to find him in you, right? So that's also references when the war in heaven began, right? Because now you have people walking around that know who they are, and because they knew who they were, there was a war. Because prior to that, it was just the devil speaking, right? It was all this, Sodom and Gomorrah. It was all this evil, and they were the only one that had a platform. So they did whatever they wanted, right? But then you also have over in the book of Genesis, you have where you have the serpent beguiled Eve, right? So he seduces Eve, right? And then she knows who she is. So now it looks like that's also where you have God versus the devil, right? So you have these three different cases, and they're in different points in history and in time. Right now, however you see the Bible to be, that's an interesting situation. Now, all three of those are often referred to, the beginning of the war in heaven, which is where Michael and his angels fought and cast out a third of the heavenly host into the earth plane, right? So when you take something like that, which is very like, how do you make sense of that, right? Well, you're talking about another dimension, right? Like an angelic realm or a metaphysical realm, where time doesn't exist, and space doesn't exist the same way. So all three of those events are really symbolic of the same event, right? Now, I believe that that's where we're at right now as well. And in this case, now, you could make an argument and say, well, I don't know that we won these other battles, right? And I think the reason why is because, people were looking, in a sense, for a savior instead of looking for the savior in them, right? And that's a big difference, right? If you're looking outside of yourself for something to save you, you might be disappointed. But if you are looking within yourself and realize that you are now being given the tools, the opportunity, the knowledge, the wisdom, the power, the strength to operate as your own savior, that is what the difference is in the fight. And the more people that wake up to that reality, that if there's going to be a difference, it's going to come from me. And that is not a vain statement, right? Like, someone might hear me say it, and they think, oh, Tang's so full of himself, right? But if they realize, no, I'm just saying it to give you permission to say the same about yourself, right? No sense in me dulling myself down. How about you just light yourself up, right? Yeah. You shine too. Now, that's the opportunity we get. That's my interpretation of the current events. Because this network is intentionally designed. This is something that was really given to Kim by source to do, right? And, in talking to Kim every day, I see so much more clearly how in tune with God and the creator she is, and how much she listens carefully and asks advice and counsel. And she's looking for that and will do what, and even if it doesn't make sense for her, she just does what she's told. And that's not some corrupt thing, and I don't mean it badly. She looks for advice and she gets it, and it always, it pans out, and it serves the best interest of, the living force that's in all of us, right? The life force in all of us. So, I've known that for a long time, that just being in alignment makes you much more powerful, right? If you can just align yourself with that divine, with God, the God particle, the source of the universe, if you're in alignment with the greatest good for everyone, then the greatest possible things can happen. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing right now, because in a million years, who would have taken us seriously enough to think that the White House would come out and endorse a task force that we named the Lightforce, to such an extent that actually they'll bring out badges and say, we're actually going to endorse you with power. So if they run your background, they'll say, no, this person is part of the Lightforce. They are an advocate, the executive orders, right? For the people. Now that's amazing.
That is, to really think that we're now so tuned into the information coming from the White House, through the Q movement, through the light workers, the everything coming together, the militias, the alternative media. It's an amazing time. I know that we have all this strife that is going on right now, but it's being shown for what it is. It's been paid for by some outside actors, bad actors, and though there's some participants in it, right? Some people that are acting lawlessly.
Big phone.
This is a really just such a small number of people,
Always.
right? And having people not participate with them is what we're seeing, right? We're seeing on the White House briefing today. They showed some video of officers hugging the protesters, right? And basically taking a stand. One of the sheriffs took a stand with them, and gave a speech about that. And it's about walking together, right? That was that we walk together. It's more than just standing together, right? We're going to walk and move forward together.
I'll tell you something. I love this term, right? In the scriptures, when you use the term walk, it's referring to your walk through life, right? And it is a principle of your walk through life is your testimony, right? It's how you are testifying of who you are, right? Where you come from, where you're going, what you believe in, right? Your walk, how you conduct yourself, your attitude, disposition, your demeanor, right? The things that you take a stand for, right? What is your walk, right? What is your story? Now, people don't have to go far, right? Because our actions speak so loud. It's very hard for people to hear our words if they're not in alignment with our walk, right? Now, I love this passage I'm going to share with you, right? Because I think this is often misrepresented, right? Now, for those who are faithful, right? Now, that term, first of all, faithful. Now, faith, what the Bible says about faith, it's never blind. It doesn't ever say blind faith. Those two words never appear together in the Bible, not once. Now, faith, to be faithful, faith, it says in Hebrews 11 chapter, the 6th verse, says that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now, that means there's substance and evidence, right? Just because you don't see it, there's clearly a demonstration of what it means to be faithful. But that's talking about the Holy Spirit or God or that God particle, right? You can even make the argument that your heart beating, there's not even a doctor in the world who can explain the physiology of why the heart beats. Why does life happen, right? Well, I would say that it's faithful. That's our connection to God. The very evidence that you are alive is your witness that God exists, right? So now, this is my favorite story in the Bible, right? Is the story of the Centurion. So the Centurion was a Roman soldier who was over 100 men. So that's where the Centurion comes from. And he comes to the Messiah. And he sees the Messiah, and he's clearly not Jewish, right? He wasn't raised with all the advantage of the scriptures and prophesied of him coming, right? So he sees him, and he tells the Messiah, he says, look, I know who you are. I know that you're special. I know that you can do this. And he doesn't understand it, right? Now, that Centurion, his name is Cornelius. So Cornelius says to him, and so the Messiah says, well, what can I do for you? And he said, look, my servant is sick, and I want you to heal him, and I know you can do it. And the Messiah says, well, let's go to your house. And the Centurion said, look, my house is not worthy for you to come. And the reason why he says that, right, is because, the Centurion, he had some stuff going on in his house. He was a Roman soldier, right, over 100 men. You can imagine, there was some debauchery going on there because it was just the way that they operated, right? So he didn't want him to come. He was ashamed. So the Messiah says, right, so he says to the Messiah, my house is not worthy for you to come. He says, but I know that you just say the word. You just say the word, it's done. And so the Messiah was pleased with that. He said, in all of Israel, I have not seen the faith of this man. I have not seen the faith of this one man who has he looked at the man, he said, go home. Your servant is healed. Now that man, not being able to see, it wasn't like he could call home and be like, hey, is my servant healed, right? Like he just had to walk home to find out. So what they do with that walk back, he turned and walked knowing his servant was healed. Now that is what's called walking in faith. Now when he got home and his other servants ran out and said, sire, your servant is healed. He said, at what hour? And it was and what hour? It was in the very minute that the Messiah said, your servant is healed. In that minute, he was healed. And him having no idea whether or not, the only thing he had to go on was that promise. So he walked forward back to his home in faith. Now that's a walk in faith, because every step of that way, he knew he was going home to his servant being healed. Now I'm telling you, that's the same walk we're in right now.
Right.
We have already beat these guys. We have already won. They are already defeated. And I'm telling you, just walk in faith. Know it's done and act accordingly. Right? Now, you got to think, if he thought his servant was going to die, if he had any doubts, right, on the way home, probably a lot he could have got done. He could have stopped by the funeral home, could have got flowers, all types of things. But he didn't do it. He walked knowing his servant would be healed. Now, that's the same way we should be acting too. Instead of hedging our bets that we're going to fail, or what if it happens again, or every other time it didn't work out, instead of thinking that way, why not walk knowing full well this is the breakthrough that we have been waiting for. This is the time we have been looking for. Let's walk that way. And reach out to your local, Patriot group, the local task force, right? And tell them you need to be part of this life force. Because that life force unifies all of us, right? And remember, the jurisprudence definition of the militia talks about every man, woman, and child abiding on the land. And I'm going to tell you something else about this. That life force, it's not limited to America. There's a group in Russia that still rides on horseback. That is their responsibility and charge is to protect the Tsar. And guess what? They're going to be part of the life force. We got other countries all over the world that are stepping up, and they're going to be part of the life force. So this will be an international group to protect the people, made up of the people. Now, how powerful is that?
Yeah, very powerful.
I'm telling you what. It's an inspiring, incredible time. And I'll tell you something. I dare people to live inspired. Because, when you inspire, what you're doing is you are breathing in. Now, when you breathe in, you're breathing in the breath of life, right? You're inspiring, right? And when you breathe out, you expire, right? So you're inspired. Now, when you live inspired, you're living your life. Now, instead of waiting for something to change, waiting for some kind of magical thing to happen, why not be that magical thing and live inspired? And when you live inspired, you inspire other people to do the same, right? Just because you woke up surrounded by zombies doesn't mean that everybody's got to stay zombies. You just go ahead and live, and the people around you, they'll naturally come to life. I watch this happen every single day. I've watched people around me just come to life.
Yeah.
So why not? Why can't we be the resurrection? Why can't that be the force that's living in us, right?
So let it be.
Let it be. Let it be. Be an ambassador, for everything you ever wanted the world to be and knew was possible.
Just one foot in front of the other. Just keep taking those steps. And we are there. Everyone around you starts taking steps, and everyone is walking together.
Now, we've asked people to get active and do whatever for a long time. But I'll tell you something. I held back a lot. And I've been very willing to take on as much as I had to do to get it done so I have real answers. And I'll tell you, I've never felt more confident and inspired that we have forged the right path. That we have been fortunate enough that with all the bumps and bruises and mistakes along the way, that we've been protected and divinely guided to this moment. And I'll tell you personally, I feel, I've referenced this many times. I spent my whole life trying to be myself and have that be okay with God. And this is more so than ever in my life. I feel at perfect peace with God and how I'm being used at this time. There's a gospel song. It's my favorite gospel song. And the way it reads is the way it's sung. It says, "If you can use anything, God, you can use me." It says, "Take my hands now, take my feet, take my heart, God, speak through me." And I would just, that's my personal prayer. And I'll tell you what, I just really, I would encourage everyone else to embrace it. We need God. We need the divine. We need true intervention within ourselves right now more than ever, and I'll tell you, you have it. That God is here and alive in us, that you are seeing it every day, and if you just take the time to tune in and listen, you will hear it, and you will know it's real.
I know it's real.
All right.
Wow.
So with that being said, too, please. So with it, look, Dan's going to post this thing for we do have some people that need help, and we have to do a lot of things that we haven't quite had the money for. We need these writers to be able to bring them on, and some of them, they have kids and they need to just pay for the nanny, right? And they basically write for us for free, but they got to pay their nanny, I have some of that. I have some people that just that do work for us all the time, and we need them to keep working, but they also got bills to pay. Things like that, we do need help with, So I know I've held back all along. I've held back on asking people for money because I don't like asking people for money who don't have any. So as always, don't give if you don't have. But if you do, I mean this. We do need the help, and now is the time where it's essential. It's essential what we're doing right now. This is the push. Now is the time to pull out all the stops and go all in, because change is right here. We can reach out and touch this right now. We are coming together finally and standing as a people. And the UNC network is going to be the vehicle that helps people have a voice. Because as soon as that launches, everything changes. Oh, and this is very important. You remember back in December, there was like an 8-day period where there was a major wave of light that came through.
Yes.
And we all felt it, right? It was pretty incredible, and we knew change going on. And at that time, you remember the destroyer, which is actually like the devil, was cast out, so to speak, and was killed, right? So I was told there is 37.5 million members of the human race that are basically beyond repair. That they are so indoctrinated and corrupted and perverted by the cabal that they really cannot be fixed, right? There's no way to change them. And from what I understand, this is, the universal UPU also feels the same way, and the same sentiments, I guess, of source as well. Now, I was told that this wave of light is coming through on Wednesday night and into Thursday. Wednesday's my birthday, coincidentally.
Oh, happy birthday.
And this wave of light that's coming through you're probably feeling it already. The energy is such a massive shift in the energy, right?
Yeah.
And you might feel symptoms of just ringing in your ears and your temple and things like that, and also it might even make you sick to your stomach at times. At least that's my personal experience. But this big wave is coming in, and that wave will increase the vibration and the frequency of the planet to the point where that group, from what I was told, a lot of them anyways, will not be able to survive it. That's what I was told. And then Thursday we're launching. So how about that? So we're launching in harmony with that light.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect synchronicity. Well, I think this. I've been feeling this energy. I feel as though sometimes I can't stay focused and because of so much coming through. And also the amount of stuff that I've been reporting on, and it's been amazing the amount of things that have been happening, but even through all of this, the point is it's those few negative people that are trying to basically, they're showing up right into the light at this point, right? They're showing up and they're being identified, and now people are awake to them. Right. So now a cleansing wave comes through. I don't know if they just disappear, return to source.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I, one of the things Kim described, she talked about the looking glass technology within the quantum system, and how she basically shut this looking glass technology off, and I guess they still try to access it. And she basically has a hologram of herself in the midst of this system, right? and she's there, and it's surrounded by frequencies. So when they see her and they want to get inside, they try to access it. It basically dissolves them. Is what I was told. You know, and she has an actual number. So it's pretty interesting. You know, it's really, you know, Kim is divulging things that we've heard of, and she's giving facts on them that are incredible. And we are going, and she is, unlike anyone else, she is not believing the rhetoric that this should stay secret for the good of the people. She said she does not embrace that. She said, no, the people should know. Now we're going to bring these things out.
No more things in the shadows. No more things in the shadows. We can't deal with it that way. We have to bring everything into the light. You know, the things that are supposed to be secret. No.
Yeah.
Don't keep their secrets.
That's right. You know, as the nature of living inspired. You know, if you live inspired, it's impossible not to inspire others. You know, and it's inspiration that's the life force that drives us all, right? We're inspired to act, inspired to do, inspired to be something different, something better, inspired to speak, right? I'm telling you, I dare you to live inspired. You watch how much you can just completely melt away some of the problems you have in your life just by living inspired, willing to take a stand. It's not popular. Willing to take a stand against impossible. Kim was in such a good mood. One day we were on the phone. She said, "I'm Kim Possible, baby. I make anything possible." Now she was just playing around. She probably wouldn't like me telling, but it was just cute. It was cute to see her so human and just having fun. You know, because she's been suppressed during this too. She spent 8 years fighting for most people who don't even know who she is.
Yeah.
So that's what I have, man. Today I know a lot of stuff going on, you know, and I'll tell you that you're gonna get some very detailed and thorough.
And that's the end of the show. You cut out just then.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. I said that's the end of the show. We're here, right?
Yeah, but you know, basically, you have this woman who's been fighting for all of us, right? And most people don't know who she is. And you know, in my opinion, it's time for us to stand up together as a collective, right? And the people that have watched us for the past year kind of bumble our way through these different things. We're about to take everything up to a higher level. And I would love for as many people as possible, everybody out there who really wants to do good work, who wants to change the world, it's time, we're going to face you with the evidence. So if you doubted us, you're going to see it and say, well, I was wrong. And that's okay. Let's move forward together. And if you've been with us, great. Now it's time we need you to kick it into overdrive to really put forth. I get people who hit me up all the time and say, oh, man, we've been following you, you know, in the back. You know, it's time to come out and stand with people.
Yes, need to be out there in the front. You know, everyone has a front. All right, you have to represent. You have to basically take the steps, move forward, take action. Everyone is on the front lines.
And I will say this too. You know, I've been so busy that honestly, like I hardly sleep, and then I'm just working, and then all of a sudden it's like the end of the day. So if I didn't get back to you or didn't answer your call, I apologize. It's not personal. I've just been so busy that we're making such progress. It's such an accelerated rate, and really supported by this incredible, you know, what I'll say is divine energy. This light force that's driving us. That I'm just focused on the task. You know, so if I don't get back to you, but you're inspired to do something, just please feel free. Go ahead and get to work and let me know. I'm sure I'll connect with you to get it done. I mean, that even my own team has been dealing with that. They haven't even been able to get a hold of it. So, and Dan, that's all I got.
That's
Thank
good.
you so much, man, for your time.
Thank you for all your hard work. Thank Kim for everything she's doing, and thank the whole team. We've accomplished so much, and we've got a lot more to do, but it's all great fun.
Yes, indeed. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Be sure to subscribe, share, positive comments. Oh, and my link, I will add the link for the contributions for PayPal down below for the United News channel and that new platform. So I will go ahead and put that in right away. And also any of the links also down below for contacting me and Speak Project is also down below. And we need you to participate. We need you to go ahead and jump in and help move this forward. We got a lot of momentum. This is the time. Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.